The Fox and the Hedgehog.
One sunny morning in the forest, golden light peeked through the trees and fell on the little path. The fox and the hedgehog were walking together, side by side. The fox swished her big tail proudly and said, "Do you know? Everyone says I'm very clever. I have so many tricks you could fill a whole cart with them." The hedgehog tilted his head curiously and asked, "Really? That many? You're not just bragging, are you?" The fox lifted her nose high and replied proudly, "Of course not. No matter what trouble comes, I can always think of a way out. For example, if I meet a hunter, I'll pretend to be lame and lead him in the wrong direction. If I encounter a fierce bear, I'll squeeze into the narrowest crevice and leave him helpless. I have so many clever ideas." But just then, oops, both of them slipped and fell into a deep hunter's pit. The walls were steep and the ground was slippery. They tried and tried, but couldn't climb out. The hedgehog shook off the dirt and looked up at the high edge of the pit. He said to the fox, "Sister Fox, didn't you say you have enough tricks to fill a whole cart? Quick, now's the time to use one and get us out of here." The fox said confidently, "Easy." She took a deep breath, pushed hard with her hind legs, and jumped with all her might. But every time she jumped up and her paws touched the slippery pit walls, she immediately slid back down. Soon she was jumping breathlessly, sweating profusely, and collapsed exhausted on the ground. She tried digging holes, using her tail as a rope, and even calling for help with her voice, but everything failed. The hedgehog watched her and thought to himself, if one method doesn't work, having many fancy ideas is useless. He deliberately let out painful groans and curled up in the corner, saying, "Oh dear Sister Fox, my tummy hurts so much. I think I got hurt when we fell down. Could you please rub it with your nose?" Although the fox loved to boast, she was actually kind-hearted. When she heard her friend was uncomfortable, she immediately forgot her own fatigue and said caringly, "No problem, little brother, I'll help you." But the moment her nose touched the hedgehog's belly, ouch! The hedgehog immediately curled into a ball covered with sharp spikes, then used all his strength to push upward. The fox cried out in pain, "Youch!" This force was like a spring, launching the curled-up hedgehog out of the pit. He drew a beautiful arc through the air and landed safely on the grass outside. After landing safely, the hedgehog brushed off the dust and said with a laugh to the fox at the bottom of the pit, "Thanks, Sister Fox. I'm free now. Let's see how your cartload of tricks will get you out." The fox was anxious and afraid, shouting up at the pit opening, "Don't leave me. Please help me too. None of my tricks work here." Her voice was filled with tears. The hedgehog looked at the anxious fox, thought for a moment, then nodded seriously and said, "All right, listen carefully. The hunter will come soon with a ladder to check his trap. When he sees you, pretend to be dead. Lie stiff on the ground with all four paws up, completely motionless. He'll think you're useless, and to keep his trap clean, he'll pick you up and throw you outside. That's your best chance to escape." The fox was skeptical, thinking, can such a simple method work? But she had no other choice. Sure enough, before long, the hunter came carrying a long ladder. He saw the dead fox at the bottom of the pit and muttered, "What bad luck! One died before I could catch it alive." He climbed down the ladder, effortlessly grabbed the fox by her hind legs, and casually threw her outside the pit. The fox flipped in the air, and the moment she landed, she immediately jumped up like an arrow and dashed into the depths of the forest without looking back. By the time the hunter realized what happened, she had already disappeared without a trace. The fox found the hedgehog, breathless and full of shame, and said, "Now I finally understand. Having 1,000 fancy tricks is not as good as one truly useful method." "You are much wiser than me." The hedgehog smiled gently and said, Sister Fox, intelligence and wisdom are not for showing off to others, but for solving problems and helping friends at the most critical moments. The breeze blew through the woods, making a rustling sound. As if whispering softly, true wisdom is not about how many choices you have, but whether you can make the right choice at the right time. Dear children, this story teaches us the best method is not necessarily the most numerous or complex, but the one that truly solves the problem. Real intelligence needs to be proven through action. Just talking without practice is useless. Don't underestimate anyone. Even friends who seem insignificant may save you in the most difficult times. True wisdom and ability should be used to help others and solve difficulties, not to show off.